All right, you just saw how to resize your image without using resampling, without asking Photoshop to make something out of nothing. Now, in this exercise, we are going to use resampling. We're going to ask Photoshop to make stuff up for us. So before we do that, what I want to do is I actually want to undo the last thing that I did here inside Photoshop, the resizing that we just did inside the previous lesson. Now you can use your history panel if you want. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit F12 on my keyboard. That's the same as choosing File Revert, don't forget. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into the image size dialog box, Command Option I or Control Alt I. And this time I'm going to go ahead and turn resampling on, or resample image, that option, on down at the bottom of the dialog box. And let's see, I'm going to throw a couple of examples at you here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my resolution from 72 pixels per inch down to 10 pixels per inch. Same thing that we did in the previous exercise, right? Now, notice that the document size doesn't change because don't forget, when resample is turned on, now instead of the pixel dimensions being fixed, it's the physical dimensions that are now fixed. So what happens now is the pixel dimensions are reduced. Now I'm just looking at 356 pixels by 267 pixels. Okay, note the file size change at the top of the dialog box as well. So what happened to all of those pixels, all of the extra pixels? Where did they go? Well, if I go ahead and click on OK right now, Photoshop is going to delete them, right? We talked about that not too long ago. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to take the resolution and rather than reducing it, I'm going to increase it all the way up to 300 pixels per inch. Once again, the document size does not change, okay? But check out the pixel dimensions, 10,667 pixels by 8,000 pixels. We're going from a 14 meg file to a 244 meg file. Sounds like fun. All right, so where are all of these extra pixels, these massive amount of pixels that's about to be added to my image? Where are they going to come from? Well, Photoshop's going to make them up. How is Photoshop going to make them up? By using the interpolation method or the resampling method that you and I choose from the drop-down menu at the bottom of the dialog box. Okay? So Photoshop's going to do its best. It's going to do the best that it can. But often when you're increasing the size of your image, you get poor results. And I alluded to this earlier. I said that reducing the size of your image is just fine. But oftentimes when we try and increase the size of our image, that's when we run into problems. Okay, that's when we're asking Photoshop to make something up for us. That's when we're going to probably get a low quality result. We can't take something that's small and make it large. We can take something large and make it small. Okay, so that's why I was saying, and I've said it a number of times already, that you want to try and resize your images without resampling if you can. Okay, now I'm not going to click on OK here because we're going to sit here for the next 2.5 hours waiting for Photoshop to render the change. So maybe instead of cranking it up to 300 pixels from the original 72, maybe what I'll do is perhaps something a little bit more reasonable. As an example, I'll increase it to 100 pixels per inch. Again, though, I am impacting the pixel dimensions, just not as drastically, and I'm increasing the file size, just not as drastically. I still have a 35.5 inch by 26.5 inch image. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Photoshop goes to work, makes up image out of nothing using the resampling method, the interpolation method that you and I specified. And notice that it zooms in on the image. Why does it zoom in on the image? Because Photoshop is trying to communicate to us that we have a higher resolution image on screen, 100 pixels per inch versus the 72 pixels per inch. You very well may want to go back and watch some of these lessons again to really understand what's happening. But I hope I was able to make it clear for you. I hope I was even maybe able to make it a little bit enjoyable for you as well. So there you go, resizing images inside Photoshop with resampling and without resampling.